IIT Madras, the premier institution recognized for its excellence in education, has made impressive advances in this pursuit. Under the visionary leadership of Professor V. Kamakoti, Director, IIT Madras, the institute continues to champion the cause for accessible world-class education for every aspiring learner. We are honored to collaborate with this esteemed institution in more ways than one, including the Swayam Plus platform, a partnership that has significantly extended our reach, enabling us to deliver high-quality upskilling courses to educators across the nation. The most recent stride forward is the coming together of Sri Sathya Sai Vidya Vahini and IITM's Pravartak Vidya Shakti, a dynamic synergy committed to bringing quality education to every child in the country, right down to the last mile. Exploratory work for partnering in the inclusive education domain is underway. Representing the Director's Office of IIT Madras, and to take us deeper into the intersection of science, inclusion, and innovation, we are honored to have with us Professor Viswanath Kumar Ganeshan, Adjunct Faculty, IIT Madras, and Principal Scientist at Tata Consultancy Services, a leading mind at the crossroads of research, technology, and real-world impact. Professor Ganeshan brings decades of insight into building systems that adapt not just to ability, but to individuality. We couldn't have asked for a more ideal speaker to illuminate the seamless integration of brain science and technology. Please join me in warmly welcoming Professor Viswanath Kumar Ganeshan.
Hi, Ram. Good morning, all of you. It's a privilege and blessing for me to stand on this podium to share my experience and aspirations for a cause that is necessary for our humanity. I see it from a larger perspective, and I will start with a 5-minute chota story or kuti story or short story, however you call it, and give a larger perspective in next 15 minutes, first 5 minutes plus 15 minutes. And before that, I'm happy to tell you that I am here with my wife, Vidya, who has been teaching, training children, individuals and young adults in neurodiverse segment with musical capability as well as vocal therapy. And I am going to share with you one of our case studies as an example to see how neuroplasticity can be evolved with little more different types of intervention. I will start with the kuti story or the chota story. We are a parent of an young adult who is in his late teens and trying to figure out over last 3 to 4 years what is in store for him in the coming years. I am going to rewind back, flashback about a couple of decades, 2006-07, where I landed in Bombay with larger aspirations in corporate life, and we had a boy and figured out that he is little different from the regular ways of living. Then question is, how do we handle him? I have a routine corporate life from 8 to 5 or 6 in Tatas, and obviously it's demanding. And there is a challenge where we live independently in a small house, and how do we look forward carrying the challenge with us? Sooner we understood that first year, second year, third year, looking for guidance and support. and figured out that there are one or few people available either in Hinduja Hospital who are kind of aware of Bombay, or a couple of other places, therapists. And 3 years, 4 years, and the insights we got from them is like, wait for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. Hold on, carry on. Then we decided, let us come to Chennai, where we have our family support. And once again in Chennai, same story. 6, 7, 8, putting in normal schools, no guidance, trying to figure out how we can engage him in different ecosystems. And that is where we are looking for him to speak, we are looking for him to sit, stand, but nothing happens. And obviously, as a mother, as a father, it has its own impact on our life. How do we handle it? Looking for support and nothing is available in the society. They are available, but here and now and this and that and do this, do that, and it becomes costlier. It's not only costlier. The scope is like they are so dispersed, scattered that we have to run around. Logistics is a major problem. Even today we face logistics is a major problem. And carrying a boy safely all around Chennai, at least in a smaller locality, itself is a little challenge. And that is where we started. And started looking for what do we do next in life. And COVID happened. And life turned topsy-turvy. Like we both sitting together entire day with the boy, from morning 6 to night 10, trying to engage him in all possible ways. The energy levels became too high. The point is that when we were saying, we were asking him to speak, walk, talk. But when he was 15, the energy level was so different that we could not control him talking. He is running all around. And we are trying to figure out like, why is this happening, the shift in life where he was so different till 11, 12, 13 years. Yeah. So, it's happening during COVID days. And schools are closed. We have no literal support available in the society, and that is where we are kind of got a residential support closer to our house in Chennai that we were able to engage him over a period of time, and that is when I started aspiring. What do we do for my son? And when I started asking this question all around us, there are a good number of people joining me. Let us start thinking together. But the question is, do we have the skill sets to think together? And that is where this story, you may have to share the screen. Yeah. And that is where this story begins, the larger story. Where we started looking at all the possible institutions in Chennai. Probably it's quite difficult, but at least I try to pick up the best and see what is happening all around. And most of these institutions have focus around 12 to 14 with skilled trainers available with them, 3 or 4. They handle about 40 to 100 candidates or children or young boys. But the question is, they have 3 or 4 mentors with support staff, which is completely insufficient. And only from my connects, I could figure out only one center which could give a holistic care to my son. And that is the opportunity that is available in the society, where if you look into Perplexity or ChatGPT, it claims in India 1 in 7 or 8 individuals are neurodiverse, which is more than 10%. And when I started looking at Tata's, IIT Madras, in a way I had the opportunity to be invited to be part of IIT Madras in one or the other way. And I immediately accepted it, saying that this will be my focus. Started interacting with the faculty members, and the message we got from either Tata's or from IIT Madras is that we are in the different segment of the society. Yes, we can do it, but bring people to us to do it. And where do we bring people when the institutions which are reasonably on the well-off side do not even have people? And I started digging deep more. and found that even those institutions which are have very limited opportunities. Typically, when you look at multiple institutions evolving in the country over last 2 decades, the underlying or implicit philosophy is sail with the flow. Okay, all of us start institutions, assuming that all of us become graduates, engineering graduates, professional graduates, assuming that things fall naturally in place. Second is we go together because that is how our system has been enabled. LKG to 12th standard till graduation, we have been put in a structure where we assume that we go together. And that mindset has been imbibed in our society, and yes, that's an excellent system. But does that excellence really reflect in all requirements? And even as individuals, we have been trading off between our individuality and the excellence that is there defined in our ecosystem. I have my own abilities. Definitely, I can't sing like my wife, who has been an inspiration for me over the last 5-6 years in this area. Definitely, I can't sing, which means that two individuals living together cannot complement each other's capability. How do we expect the larger system to complement each other's needs and requirements and evolution? That's a bigger question mark, and that is what philosophically I started debating with some little more larger intellectuals in our society, particularly in Chennai. And people said, you are trading between sensitivities and philosophies, which is really affecting us. I said, I am not going to debate with you or fight with you. I am here to inspire you. And that is where I said, we need to look at different form of evolution. At least let us start with a single lot in our ecosystem. And personally, as a team of people from 2-3 kind of diverse institutions started debating with each other, we figured out that it goes into multiple levels of classification. This is rather, what do you call, foundational. And this is where really there is no attention available with us in our ecosystem, whole country, even across the world. Up to 15 years, 12 years, yes, we can engage them in one or the other way, with family support, with schooling support, so on and so forth. But when we look at individuals who cross mid-teens, teens, that is where the difficulty level begins. And obviously we know that teenage is one of the kind of a challenging phases even for a normal or a neurotypical individual. And when it comes to 25, it's even more challenging. There is no avenues. And that is what I said, or rather we together said, let us start looking at creating a smaller ecosystem. Doesn't matter whatever it costs. Let us start pushing institutions, pulling institutions together. And yes, it requires tremendous amount of energy, repeatedly going and asking people, yes, boss, come with me. And the primary scope is to see that the engagement and the skilling needs from the early intervention is necessary, which is missing. And as we evolve, we need to figure out how we have to play with the mind to see that children, young boys and girls, individuals, adults, in a way get kind of occupied and engaged with their minds. And to be in a, what do you call, approach where you can look at leveraging them to be productive and their sense are in a way kind of extracted out. So when we look at it, yes, there are scopes available, particularly in this area where predominantly majority of them have repetitive behavior and repetitive skill sets. They have creativity and definitely they have musical and vocal skills. But the point is that I am putting in very few examples here. Point is that how do we exploit it together? And we can interplay between them, and this is one area which we have been in a way able to get about 30 or 40 young boys and children together to see that they are in a way interactively, actively, vibrantly engaged in different platforms. And we understood that with our interactions with experts in and around our circle, the major requirement is like there is an kind of white space in policy frameworks, capturing of data, identification of skilled people, bringing in motivation, infrastructure, as well as technology aids. And these are all the white spaces. Let us forget about limitations. Yes, we do have limitations, but how do you look at this avenue to see that how we can collaborate together? And we started talking to multiple channels, including different centers in IIT Madras, SMEs across Chennai, music troops to work with us. One or two of them came forward, but still the vibrancy required is phenomenal. Almost like a normal individual requires about 1 hour of effort to train him in something little more deeper. Neurodiverse individual requires 30 to 40 hours sometimes. And to be open enough, here are some numbers which I have put from students trained with my wife over the last 4 or 5 years. In the first year, when she said, am I fit enough? We discussed about it, deliberated with a couple of experts and said, let us start somewhere. And let society reciprocate from our requirements. And we started with 20 candidates, small boys and girls who are in their early teens or mid-teens to late teens. And if you look at the numbers, you see that it progresses forward. And all of them are not unique. There are 4 experts who could naturally sing where they have not been identified or their potential has not been tapped. We were able to directly go on the stages and perform. There are some inmates from Chennai International Airport, Music Academy. We were able to go and perform with 4 of them. And she is more or less like a professional singer, but not definitely into a professional mode. That has been opportunistic for her. Then second year, we added a few more candidates, but we have to keep training the same boys and girls who are having aspirational dimension, or they have potential dimension. They require 2 or 3 years of training. Keep sailing with them. And put in the process to see how we are able to identify their inherent capabilities. It's not that easy. You have to sit with them, do vocal therapies with them, bring out their voice out of their practices, and see that they are able to remember it. Some of them are having extraordinary remembering capacities. And it goes on and on. Now almost she is into it for 4 or 5 years. The other experiment we did is that we got some support from one of the corporates to experiment with bakeries, bread making, biscuits, cookies, and the process steps are given here in one of the tables. Starts with ingredient selection till the final dough preparation. Then baking, it's little risky job where we cannot kind of handhold these individuals with the oven and heating process. We are also in touch with one of the largest bakeries in Chennai to see how we can take them to the next level. The challenge is logistics. They are not in a position to come to our locations, and our boys are not in a position to go to their locations for multiple reasons. Safety, security, comfort. And these are all the places where even though our boys and girls have capabilities, the inhibition, the inertia comes in from the perspective of how do you marry both of the opportunities with respect to their capabilities. Music is little easier. Boys are good in bakery manufacturing, bread manufacturing or biscuit manufacturing. Some of them are very rhythmic. Put in a music, almost it's like looking like a fountain dancing. But the question is, how do you make the fountain dance on the market, in the market? And you see some numbers here. Some of them are good when you mix right set of neurotypical individuals with neurodiverse individuals. People love it. But how do you marry them together? And that is where we need lot more collective effort, which is not easily available in our ecosystem. Fine. All these examples are interesting. But the question is, some of us who have to have a mechanism to evaluate ourselves. We evaluate ourselves. And evaluation results in the process of multiple facets. Anxiety, agony, jealousy. We face it, every one of us face it. But these guys, these young boys and girls do not have this. That is the interesting part of it. They don't understand. They sometimes don't even understand what is happy and being charming. They laugh, but I am not sure whether they really understand the purpose behind the laughing. So, question is, what is needed? We have to have a good assessment system that can be integrated, and in this world of generative intelligence, we need to figure out how we can collectively pool the intelligence using an integrated process and the system and continuously, which has been missing for me for over last 2 decades. And that is the need of the hour. And that is where I am trying to push Tata's and IIT Madras to see how do we kickstart this process. And we need to have more hands to this because it cannot be done by tens of individuals. It has to be done by larger number of collectively vibrant, like-minded, intellectual people who can be inspiration to the larger society. It can't be done by few individuals in IIT Madras. When you talk about assessment, the other important need is technology. And it's quite difficult for us to assess these individuals with one or the other human experts because experts do have their own variations. I look at green as green, but somebody looks at light as light green, even among us. So similarly, neuro area is one which is even more complex for the experts who are living in this area. So we need to have somewhere a common thread where we can align all of us together. And these are all the challenges we face, but the desirable is how do we bring in corporates, startups in different form together to address the desirable requirements where personalization, adaptability of the devices across whatever we have to the individual needs, which is not that difficult. When we have generative AI and Perplexity and ChatGPT can do lot amount of personalization by capturing our data, why can't we do this? We can do it easily with even video imaging. The other important focus is mentors. I am not able to get people who are able to work with deeper involvement, commitment, in spite of they have passion to do it. Reason being is that their other side of their life is something which is also important for them. And that is why we need to start looking at building capabilities from a national perspective. Definitely, yes. We need to see how we can give a good amount of push unless we have the larger support. We will not be able to attract people into this area, and people who are living in this area are not able to take it forward because of multiple inhibitions. Investments. Connect investments with translational technologies and adapt those technologies to customized usability. And that is where I finally conclude with mentioning that all of us should work together to establish centers of excellence as a first step in this area. I am trying to establish with good number of faculty members a center of excellence in IIT Madras, which is still a long way to go because they are on the other side of the spectrum. They are working with individuals who are extraordinarily motivated. Yes, these boys are also motivated, but they are motivated in different direction, which we have to bring them back to the normalcy. Then the other step is to see that we sit together and see what are all their capabilities. How do we align skills to their capabilities? The number has been going up. It was 1 in 31 few years ago. It's now 1 in 7 or 8, which means that we are going to have a little more heavier segment in this area sooner than ever. It's growing exponentially because of our lifestyles, because of our aspirations, because of our needs, because of our commitments. So we need to come together to see how do we look at connecting the dots together using multiple avenues, including technology. And one or other way we have become excellence because of our independent capabilities. Few individuals create excellent ecosystems, software systems, robotics, automation. But yes, many of them are being driven towards it by spending the lot amount of their capability to shape it up to be hyper productive. We are making them individuals, but not social animals. Human is a social animal. We have to be interacting with each other, which is in a way has to be brought back in some form into the society. Yes, we can't turn it around in one day or 1 month or few years, but somewhere some of us have to strive together to see that we are in a sense bringing those hyperactive individuals back into the other side of the system to contribute and see that we live together little more cohesively. I'm not sure whether we can call it democracy, but somewhere we need to have leaders to drive it and ensure that that cohesion is imbibed and installed in our society, and that is where I stop, okay? Probably we need to keep connecting with each other again and again to make this, at least our community, a vibrant and a happy ecosystem. I stop here. Thank you. Any questions? Happy to answer.
We'll be taking the questions a little later. There is a QR code that will be shared in the group, and the questions can be posted there, and the speaker will respond for that. That is the arrangement. Thank you so much, sir, for those valuable insights into inclusive and innovative pathways for neurodiverse individuals. And to felicitate Professor Ganeshan, I invite Sri Hariharan P. and Sri V.L. Subramanian. Sir, please come to the center stage for some good photographs.